to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Well, not a lot of good things to talk about yesterday. We know it was a loss. And I didn't do my show Friday, if you remember, I said I had a family in town, so I couldn't do my show. And I would have talked about what caused the Bears to win, what caused the Bears to lose yesterday on Friday's show. So it's not a big deal that I didn't get the show out on Friday, but I'll tell you, I was not happy yesterday, and I was a tad hungover. We just went from Thursday to Saturday night nonstop, and I was just like, whoo, and I had to get my sister and her husband to the airport at, what time? 6:30 yesterday morning. I wasn't feeling that good. I think I was still a little drunk when I was driving them to the airport. Whoops. Anyways, let's get into it. It's not a victory Monday, and I'm not happy. Because if you watch my show regularly, which, by the way, thank you, you know my rules. And a lot of them, one in particular was broken yesterday, the penalties. So first, the score was 16-30. We lost. So now we are 4-3. And but I do have to mention one thing before we start breaking down the show, a couple things. I don't know if you heard about it, but this is just so sad. There is an ex-Jets player, Nick Mangold, and he was only 41 years old, and he passed away yesterday from a kidney disease. And he had been asking weeks ago. He went online, and he was like, I need a kidney so bad. I'm a rare type. I think he was O, and none of his family could help him, and he didn't make it. He 41 years old. That's just not fair. And he had left 4 young kids behind, so let's send some good prayers out to his family, and God bless you, Nick, right? Also, I wanted to thank all you viewers for my show last Tuesday. Oh my God, it was crazy how many people watched my show. Thank you so much. And I'm pretty sure that Greg Braggs from CHGO might have had something to do with all those viewers. And then I also have a fan, and then CHGO is a big podcast show in Chicago. And then I have my good buddy Dan. He also does a podcast, Bears Country Production, and I think he shouted out my name too. So thank you. And if I had done my show Friday, I would have told you the Ravens and the Bears had played 7 times prior to yesterday, and the Bears had won 4, and Ravens had won 3. Their first meeting was in December 1998, but now they're 4-4, as we know. Yeah, there was. It's really pretty simple what happened yesterday. So, on my show. Prior to the game, I always have my 3s. Penalties, 5 or less. Turnovers, at least 1 to 2. And limit your 3 and outs on offense. Well, the only thing we were good at was we only had 1 3 and out on offense, but the other 2 we lost. So if you could win at least all 3 of these, or 2 out of the 3 of these, you're in the game or you're going to win the game. Clearly, we did not. The Bears had 11 penalties, no turnovers by the defense. We almost had one, but it didn't have, and the offense only had 1 3 and out, but it just didn't matter because they couldn't do what they needed to do, like get touchdowns. Big problem again this past week. So let's go over a few stats, and then we'll get into it. I'm going to try not to go too much overboard. I'm really pissed. You know what? I knew it was going to be a rough game because Ravens were 1-5 going into this game, and they really, really needed it to try to save their season. Had they lost this game, it could have been over for them, but they didn't. And I knew because they needed the game. It was in Ravens. It's hard to beat the Ravens at home. And also, in a way, they didn't have anything to lose. They did and they didn't. You know what I mean? And last week, The coaches took all the fun stuff out of the locker room, the Ravens locker room, including their ping pong table, which I guess they really like. So they removed it to say, hey, you're not allowed to have any more fun until we start winning. Well, maybe that ping pong table's going back in. I don't know. But shit. So I just knew it was going to be a tough one. So let's do a little stats. The total passing game for the Bears was 276 to the Ravens passing game 178. We beat them there. Our rush, we couldn't even break 100 yards with 3 to 4 guys doing it. We had 96 yards. Again, you got to have a consistent run game. We had it in the last 2 prior games, and they started getting a few chunks, but then when you start, you're behind the sticks because of penalties. You're behind the score. You got to start. You can't run as much because you gotta start throwing it down the field, which you know what happens. So we had 96 yards total rushing. They had 177 yards rushing. Our defense, not a good day there. They improved their third down percentage. The last 2 or 3 weeks, it was real bad. It was a little better yesterday. They were 6 of 13 on third down conversions. Ravens were bad. They were 4 for 10, but they still beat us, you know? Oh, again, penalties. Williams, I would not say he had his best game. I really wouldn't. He had a couple of overthrows again. He had a couple underthrows, but it's not the reason we lost, but it didn't help. He was 25 of 38. Not that great. For 285 yards. Huntley, their quarterback, was 17 of 22. Much better percentage. He had 186 yards passing. Williams threw an interception, and he was sacked once. Huntley, Ravens quarterback, who was the backup to Lamar Jackson, who did not play, he threw for a touchdown, and he was sacked twice. Okay, let's get into the running game, which you know I talk about all the time. 96 yards ain't going to do it when you're playing anybody really in the NFL, especially the Ravens that really, really, really needed it, and it didn't happen. So Swift, 45 yards. He did have a touchdown. Williams had 24 yards, our quarterback, and then Kyle Magunga, number 25, and Moore also ran the ball a little bit. Derrick Henry, their great running back for the Ravens, had 71 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns, and their quarterback had a good day running. Huntley ran for 53 yards. Our wide receivers, Rome, number 15, had a wonderful day, 114 yards in the air. Moore, 73 yards in the air. Loveland, our rookie, number 84, he had 38 yards in the air. And then Swift and OZ also had touched the ball in passing. Ravens' leading receivers was Flower with 63 in the air and Bateman 51 in the air. And for the Ravens, they had 7 different players catch a pass yesterday. I mean, he was just spreading it all around, and between, and the injuries on defense, that's the other thing, are just killing us. Really, it's the penalties and the injuries that are just killing the Bears. I mean, you know what? But what are we going to do? We got to, okay, so let's just talk about our defense a second. We'll get into it. So the defense had an okay game, not really. They had 2 sacks, and they hit the quarterback 3 times. The Ravens had 1 sack. They got 1 interception, and they hit the quarterback 4 times. So they beat us on that defense. I'm not even going to go through who had the most tackles and that, because forget it, just forget it. I'm not mentioning them, okay? So the thing is, bottom line here is, it's pretty simple. I'm going to break down the penalties in a minute, but really, 2 major things that are Bears that's just been the biggest bugaboo this season is the penalties are horrible. I forgot to look where the Bears ranked, although there's still another game tonight. So at one point they were 15th, but then they moved up again. They're probably in the top 10 in the most penalties. Have to be, because they had 11 yesterday. 11. Are you fucking kidding me? You can't win a game with 11 penalties unless you're playing somebody so bad, but they were not. Even though the Ravens were 1-5, but they had a lot of injuries too, and they had a lot of defensive injuries, and some of their players were back yesterday. And our old Roquan Smith was back yesterday, and he showed up for sure because he was all over the place yesterday. So he hurt his former team, and I'm sure he was digging it. But of course, the injuries are also. Now, the injuries, obviously, you can't really control those, but in the Bears' backfield, we had 3 starting players out. Gordon, number 6, who came back last week, and you saw the difference he made. He had a touchdown he had an interception last week. He was involved in a sack or 2. So, but now he's on IR. Yeah, he played 1 game. Boom, back on IR, and they're hoping it's the short version, but I don't know. But him not being there, Stevenson, 29, our backfield, he did not play. And, of course, the third person, number 1, JJ, has been on IR all season. So, you know what? That's just killing us. And that's on defense. So the backfield is just torn apart, decimated. It's horrible because that going into the season was the best thing about the Bears defense was the backfield. And now they're just so hurt, and you put second and third string guys in there and you just pray that they're going to surprise you and have a great day. But that didn't really happen, did it? And then there's 2 players on the defense that are designated to return. And I don't know why number 94, Booker, has not been on the field yet. I would really like to know that question. When Ben Johnson is asked, he just says, not ready yet. Okay. And then there's our linebacker, Emen, and I cannot pronounce his last name because it's like this long. It starts with an O, and I have no idea, so I'm not even going to try. He is number 45, and he's designated to return, and he's a linebacker. So see if we can get these guys in the upcoming game. Then on offense, our second our backup running back, who I've mentioned many times I like, number 23, Johnson. And then Cole Kmet, was out yesterday as well. Loveland had a good game, but when you're missing Cole Kmet, that's a lot because between Cole can block, he can catch, and he could run with that ball, and you missed him. Okay, we missed him. We have 6 guys between the defense and the offense that are on IR right now, and that is just not, it's not good. It's just not. The injuries are just killing us this year. And I don't know. All around the leagues, there's been a lot of injuries this year, and I don't know if it's just me because the Bears are so decimated, but I see a lot of other teams. And I really say a lot of this has to do with, and I've been saying it, the camp. When they come to do camp at the end of July and August, they have, back in the day about I don't know when the 2 times ago is when the practices changed in camp, when they renegotiated their contracts, the players and the league, and they got it so they basically can't hit each other in camp. There's things they can't do, and I think that's why a lot of these guys are getting hamstring issues and getting hurt because they're not playing and hitting in camp. So they're starting to do it, and then they get hurt, boom, they're on IR, or boom, they're sitting out 3-4 games. So you know what? The players are the ones that asked for it, but players, open your eyes. It's only hurt you. Back in the day, they worked your asses in camp. I mean, these guys would be exhausted, but you didn't hear the injuries like you are now. Plus, they do a lot more weightlifting and stuff like that more than they did back in the day. And that's why, with all that, they need to be run harder in camp and hit each other a little more. Of course, I don't want them to hurt each other in camp, but it's showing that without doing it before the season starts, it's just ending with more and more players are hurt and on IR. And I just really believe that's the reason. That's my personal opinion. I'm sure everybody else has other reasons, but what does this old lady know? It's just, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm going to break down most of the 11 penalties, just to give you an idea how much it hurt them. Okay, first penalty. First play of the damn game, the Bears kickoff penalty. Gives them bad field position. Then the second penalty on the first drive of offense, they get a penalty. It pushes them back. So then 18, and then Williams gets sacked right after that. They had a nice drive going. Penalty, sacked. They had to settle for a field goal. Not a touchdown, a field goal. Here we go again. They have to score 7, not 3. Then in the first quarter later, the defense on the third penalty. They had stopped the Ravens. They get a penalty, first down. The Ravens continue the drive, score a touchdown. Okay? Yeah, you kind of feeling my drift here. Second quarter, fourth touchdown. Excuse me, the fourth. I wish the Bears had 4 touchdowns. Second quarter, offense got the fourth penalty, and because of that penalty, they were forced to punt. Then on the punt, so Taylor comes out to punt. The ball lands on the Ravens' 1-yard line. I mean, the defense has to be chomping at the bit going, yeah, we got him on the 1-yard line. You know what? So that penalty, he had to come back, re-kick, and they ended up having on the ball about the 22 or 21-yard line. Now, big frickin' difference of 20 yards, especially when you're on their 1-yard line. Your defense, they could have gotten a safety. They could have gotten forced a turnover or 3 and out. They punt. We get good field position on offense. But because of the penalty, first of all, the fourth penalty forced a punt. And the second penalty, right after that, on the punt, which was the 5th penalty of the game, yeah. Then later in the second quarter, the 6th penalty, this time on defense, after stopping the Ravens on third down, they would have had to punt. They get a penalty. They give them a first down, and then the Ravens continue and get a field goal. Yeah. Then in the second quarter again, the 7th penalty, this time on offense, the Bears were driving right before the half. And that's when Kay Williams got the grounding penalty. So not only a grounding penalty is one of the worst because you lose yards, you lose the down. And because of that pushed the Bears that pushed them. So he lost the down. So it was 4th down. He lost yardage, which pushed them back and essentially pushed them out of field goal range. They tried the field goal. It was 50-something yards. I don't know if it was 54, something like that, and he misses it. But that's all because of the penalty. They don't get that penalty. He doesn't, get that grounding penalty. You keep moving. And who knows what could happen? Maybe we keep going down the field and get a touchdown instead of a missed field goal. Third quarter. This one is on the defense. This was our 8th penalty, and that also gave the Ravens a first down to continue their drive, which ended in a field goal. See what's happening here? And so in the 4th down now, this was on special teams, 2 on special teams. We had it with the punt, where, we had them on the 1-yard line, and then this was on special teams. The special teams got a penalty in the 4th, and that gave the offense bad field position again. But I will say the Bears did go down and manage to get a touchdown on that. But it doesn't matter. It just sets you up to fail. A 9th penalty? Come on. And then later in the 4th quarter, on the offense again, this was our 10th penalty. They started the drive on our third yard line. penalty. Then they get a pre-snap penalty, and right after that, Williams throws the interception. The Ravens have the ball on the 10-yard line, and of course, they go in and score the touchdown. Now, maybe on that drive, that 10th penalty, when we're on the 3rd-yard line, we don't get that penalty. Maybe that offense keeps going. And he probably does not throw that interception. He was desperate to do something, which is a problem, but he was desperate because they kept going the wrong way. We're down on, the 3rd-yard line. And, no penalty, I believe no interception, and no touchdown. 3 things. Then later in the 4th quarter, the defense, the 11th penalty, gives the Ravens another first down and another touchdown. So there was maybe one that didn't really end up terribly, 1 or 2, but that's it. The rest of them all gave them, the Ravens, first downs and points, and did nothing for the fucking Bears, right? But I will say, once again, like the Washington game and the New Orleans game, these refs, I don't know what's going on, but I've never seen in my 50 years the referees miss or call the wrong penalties. It's been terrible this year. And it's really not just the Bears. I've seen it on other teams too, but who cares about the other teams, right? But yesterday, and we all know what this one was, they missed 2 penalties on a play in the 4th quarter where they could have called either or. Ravens were out there on offense, and was it Wright? Shoot, I can't remember what Bears player it was. It might have been number 26, Wright. First of all, the wide receiver for the Ravens catches the ball, and he grabs the Bears face mask, and right before that, he pushed him. It was a push-off, so you could have had 2 or more. You get that penalty for face mask, that's a 15 yards back for them. And I believe they would have, I'm trying to think okay. And oh yeah, because of that, they did that non-call. They had some more plays. They went down and scored another touchdown. If the refs call that 15-yard penalty, punt, Bears get the ball back, touchdown doesn't happen. I mean, these refs suck. We all know about the Washington and New Orleans games. A lot of people, I didn't talk about it because I forgot, but a lot of people did, but they were both wins, so you're like, okay, but they're bad. But this, and I'm not saying that one play in the 4th quarter cost the game. Of course it did not. But you take that touchdown off the board, so it was 30-16. You take 7 off there, it's 16-23. You never know. The Bears are within a chance to catch up. So every little mistake makes a difference, and the refs aren't happening. So basically, yesterday's game, the Bears hurt themselves with the penalties, the injuries, and now the refs are we're losing. The refs are not helping us either. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And, I knew this was going to be tough going into this game. I knew it because I told you that they had to win and this and that. So, I don't know. To me, the Bears looked a little flat, especially on defense. I know Sweat was kind of in there a few times, but I should maybe not. Well, they gave up 30 points, but they gave up 30 points because they had 11 penalties. And our offense just didn't, I don't know. Rome had a great day. This kid is just going to be special. There's no doubt about it. But Cabe, not the greatest day. And, he's got an arm, Cabe Williams. He's got an arm. But he's got to learn to settle down and get that ball where your receiver can catch it and run with it. And when you're making them go way up here, if they can catch it, they're going to be tackled right away, and they can get hurt. Anytime you make a wide receiver go up off his feet, off the field, and he's going way up, there is a good chance of injuries because the defender is coming in and hitting him. So, and then there was one particular, I thought Rome could have had it, but it was low, but I've seen people and him catch those. So there's a couple low ones. they've got to work on him a little bit more to settle down. Like that interception. He was trying to make something happen. I get it. I really do. But do not hurt your team and give the other team 7 points, because that's what he did. So, you know what? And then the defense again gave up 177 yards rushing. And you give up over 100 yards on defense rushing, you're probably going to lose that game. So it's just, so really, I mean, it's just pretty simple. The penalties, the injuries, and the referees, and a non-consistent running game. We had 2 good running games, and then we're back to not again. Before those 2 good running games, it was terrible. We know that. They have got to get a consistent running game going. You can't have 1 here, good, and then 2 bad, and then 1 good. It's not going to happen. So, I was giving Swift his props last week. Well, I'm taking them back, Swift. And I'm not going to come there and give you a big wet one, okay? But Ben Johnson, I watched his press conference after the game, and, that's the thing I do love about him. I love this guy. He is passionate. He wants to win, and he's going to let you know if something's pissing him off. And he was so frustrated about these penalties. I mean, you could just see it, which he should be, because they're ridiculous. We had 10 last week. We had 11 this week. Then I think the week before we had 9 or 10. It's unacceptable. You are not going to win games in the NFL having 10, 11 penalties a game. Not going to happen. And this is what Ben Johnson said about the penalties. He said, listen, us coaches have been preaching nonstop. Stop the penalties, especially on offense when you're getting these false starts lined up wrong. These pre-snap penalties are inexcusable. And he said, we are preaching every day, no penalties, no penalties, be disciplined, do your job. And he said, and apparently it's not working. So he said, maybe it's time for the team leaders to step up and make a statement to stop this if we want to move forward. I mean, he's got a good point, right? I don't get it. Teams always are going to have a bad penalty day. It just kind of happens. But the teams who consistently win, if you start looking at it as the season goes on, they don't. Each game they get less and less and less. Right now, each game the Bears are getting more and more and more. They're going the wrong way. These penalties, I don't know. And who did I hear talking about it? Might have been Dave Wanstead on the after show. He said, hey, listen, if it's starting to come down on the offense, especially the offense, if the same people are doing it, maybe they need to bench them for a while. Even though our offensive line has gotten so much better this year because of these guys we went and got in free agency and the draft. But he's right. If they can't control their penalties and their mistakes, then you got to fucking sit on the bench and give somebody else a try. And you never know. You might find a nice winner in there, right? But you got to figure it out. The thing is, haven't been doing is writing down who's making them. So I get so mad that I don't do that. But yesterday, even though I was hungover, and I was, I wrote down every penalty and what it did, So, and as I said last week, every time I get a penalty, I get another gray hair. I can't afford any more gray hairs. I think my eyebrows are starting to turn gray now because of them. But it's true. So really, there's really nothing else to talk about. It's penalties, 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 and then, of course, injuries, which they can't control. But those are the 2 bugaboos that are killing the Bears, and their schedule is not going to get any easier moving forward. We play Cincinnati in Cincinnati on Sunday. They are 3-5, and they can win. They've got a pretty decent defense, I think. I know Joe Flacco is their quarterback, but he put 38. Was that the game? I can't remember. I think he put 38 points on the board yesterday. So he could throw the ball. I know he's old, he's 40, but he can still play football. So, and then I think we've got the Giants after that, who have started to turn things around. Then we're starting to play our division again. And that, the Bears have got to clean up these mistakes and these penalties before we start playing our division. Because right off the bat, we are 0-2 against our division. We've lost against Minnesota and Detroit. And if you can't beat your division, you're not going anywhere. Now, I have been saying since the beginning of the year, I didn't believe the Bears would be making no playoffs this year, and it's quite clear they're not now. But I want to be 500 because we haven't been for so long. I want to be 500 so we can build that momentum for next year and fix some of the problems. Again, new coaching staff, I know, but come on. So what are the Bears? They have played 7 games. That was week 8, right? Yeah. Week 9 is this coming up. You know what? I know there's still, and Cave still has some learning to do. I do know that. Again, I know he's a second-year quarterback, but to me, because of what happened last year and now all new coaches, it's almost like his first year again. So he's got to clean some stuff up. I mean, the guy's got an arm. He does. And he's smart. And he's accountable. He takes accountability, which I like. That's something we haven't heard in a long time from any of our quarterbacks. But he can't be throwing those interceptions down there where he did. I get it, trying to make plays, Cabe, but that's not the way to do it, my friend. Run the ball. Even if you don't get the first down, you punt. You didn't throw the interception. So these kind of things have to be cleaned up. Now, he's still got a better ratio of touchdowns to interceptions, but it worries me. But it all starts with, hello? Come on, guys. Penalties! I don't even know what to say. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm getting all worked up. But, so, I mean, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. The Bears lost that game all on their own. Ravens played a good game, and they beat them. But in a lot of areas, the Bears beat themselves again. And we've seen this year after year after year. And it's getting damn frustrating, and I'm really getting tired of it. So it is just so stupid, 11 penalties. You think about it. Like I say, sometimes you're going to have them. Sometimes there's good penalties. Usually on defense when a running back for the other team gets the ball and it looks like it could be a touchdown and the defensive player, does something, but they get a penalty, but they stop them. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes there's good ones, but never on offense is there a good penalty. And it just, I don't know. I don't know. The Bears just seem to be going in that direction the wrong way, and it's getting worse and worse each week. It's not like we had, 2 weeks ago, a great penalty game and then a bad one and then a good penalty. You know what I mean? No, they're consistently getting, 8, 9, 10, 11 penalties per game, and you're not going to win. And that's pretty much, I think they had one game this season, I'm not sure which game it was, that they were like 6 or something like that, maybe, but that was the lowest. And that's not acceptable. 5 or less. And I'm being pretty generous for the 5 or less. So Bears, you know what? If you want to go 500 and try to prove to the league that you're getting better and you're improving, then prove it by stopping the penalties. I'm so tired of the word penalty. So that's it. I'm not going to go on anymore. We know what it is. So, you know what? We're 4-3. We're not losing yet. We're 4-3. So we play Cincinnati this week. I will come back Friday to go over. I'll be back on Friday. I'll go over the game, and I'm going to tell a good Bears story, and then we'll see what happens on Sunday. But Bears this has just got to be cleaned up. So if we want to move forward in the right direction and be a 500 team, I mean, I don't even think that's asking a lot. Okay? So that's the bottom line. Penalties, injuries, referees, and turnover in the wrong area. Anyways, so Bears, you better get your shit together this week in practice. I'm not kidding, because you know what? Instead of flying to Illinois to congratulate Swift, I'm going to fly to Illinois, rip one of your arms off, and beat you all with it if you don't cut it out. And this little chick who's 76 years old, 5'1", I'm mighty. I am. So look out, bears. That's all I can say. And of course, I want to say, like I always do at the end of my show, please be kind. Love one another. Respect people. Times are hard. We have got to stick together like Bear fans do. Bear fans are tough and they stick together and they're loyal. But out there in this world right now, there's not a lot of respect or loyalty. And like my sister when she was in town, she's like, do you talk and smile to everybody and tell everybody? And I said, yes. When I'm talking to people, I'm always so nice. And even when I was losing money, I was still being nice at the casino. But just be kind for me, okay? Just think before you speak. Think about how you would feel if somebody said something shitty to you, or if you were having a bad day and maybe somebody came up and smiled at you. It makes a world of difference, okay? And thank you all for watching. Spread the word. I really didn't say a whole lot except for all the same shit today. So let's hope next Sunday or next Monday is a Victory Monday. And as I said, I will be back on Friday to go over to the show. I hope you all return. And again, I really, really, really appreciate you watching my show. I was saying to some people this weekend when I was out and about, and they're all like, God, you do a show? And I said, yeah, and people actually watch me. It's kind of cool. You know what I mean? Although Greg Braggs on CHGO did say to me last year I was going to be on his show, and Greg, I haven't gotten the call. What's up? And I'm kidding. Anyways, go Bears. I will see you Friday. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.